we have learned that the IP address is divided into two parts, a network ID and a host ID. Now, how do we know where to put those parts? And the answer is the subnet mask. And the subnet mask is simply a set of contiguous ones and then contiguous zeros that make up a dividing line, so to speak. Now, in binary, a subnet mask might look like this. I've got 8 ones, 8 more ones, 8 zeros, and 8 more zeros. Now this equates in decimal to 255.255.0.0. So this would be a valid subnet mask. But now let's put this subnet mask up against an IP address to see how it works. Anywhere we have ones, so in other words these 255s, how come I have 3 5s there? That's just silly, isn't it? There, that's a little bit better. Anywhere where I have ones, or in other words these 255s, that means that the IP address that corresponds in the same octet is part of the network address. So 192.168.20.1 255.255.0.0. Let's just look at this and we can kind of see where this dividing line is. There's a dividing line right here. So this dividing line everywhere this way is the network ID, and everywhere over this way is the host ID. So in this case, we've got 192.168 as the network ID and 20.1 as the host ID. Now let's make another one that looks similar. 192.168.20.1 255.255.255.0. All right, now we can see our dividing line is right here. So everything over here is network ID, and everything over here is host ID. So the network ID in this case is 192.168.20. That's the network ID. And the host ID is just this one over here. 1 is the host ID. Finally, let's do one more. 192.168.20.1 255.0.0.0. Now you can see our dividing line is after the first octet. It's right here. That's where the 255s end. So everything over here is the network ID. So the network ID in this case is 192. Network ID. And 168.20.1 is the host ID. Now, there's no rule that says we have to have all the ones, that an entire octet has to be taken up with ones. We'll get into that later. Later on, we'll discover that we can put zeros in these slots here and have network IDs that fall somewhere in between, but that's a little bit more advanced topic than we want to go at this very moment.